Hi guys, it's Diane, the Evolved Dietitian here today, talking about how to be a better fat burner. I wish I knew this years ago. I could have helped way more people. It's stuff that might surprise you, so hang tight. So first of all, what is fat burning? You have the breaking down of fat, right? So there's ways that we can do this. We can burn it up as work. So when we talk about that calorie model where it's like, okay, I'm going to exercise for an hour and burn so many calories. That's how we think about it, but we need to change that a little bit or a lot bit. We can also burn off energy that we take in as heat. That's why you can have a much leaner person eat the same, have the same age, same food, and yet burn off, poof, energy. That's everyone's dream, almost everybody's dream, right? So I'm going to teach you how to do that. So first of all, second of all, I guess, because I already said first of all, what dictates fat burning? The amount of input, yes, that's true. The amount does matter. They happen to have calories attached to them. They're labeled as calories, but it doesn't mean calories are everything because it's the type of input. Yes, carbohydrate has less calories, but that doesn't mean crapola when it comes to hormones. And then the frequency of input. That too has a lot to do with hormones. We'll get to that. And output. Yes, exercise is very handy, especially it teaches us how our tissues respond to what we eat, helps us stay nice and strong, and helps our brain. But it doesn't necessarily do everything that it could do. Okay, hormones. Let's talk about yin and yang here. I love looking at yin and yang, or the elements of the body and nature, and you can naturally see these partnerships, this balance between two molecules. You have insulin and glucagon. These are hormones that are integral in our understanding of fat burning. Insulin I like to call the Italian grandma. She brings food to the cells, manja to nourish them. Glucose, fatty acids, none of this is bad, it just is. This is how the body works. But insulin, and insulin helps tell the brain when it's satisfied with the help of some other hormones as well. And while it's doing all this, the body can't burn fat because it's in storage mode. That's an important thing to remember. Glucagon. Glucagon on the other side of the coin, preps our body for action. It helps us release fatty acids from fat tissue, yay, and our liver. We don't want a fatty liver either. Only when insulin is low though. That's huge. That's why it's in yellow or amber. It helps create glucose from non-glucose substances. Question for you. Do you think we need carbohydrate from our diet? True or false, let's say. We need carbohydrate from our diet. Well, in school, we learned that we have essential fatty acids and we have some essential amino acids. These essential items had to be taken from the diet, but nowhere do we learn that we have any essential carbohydrate. Yet, for years, most of us professionals always thought or think that we need carbohydrates, that we must eat them. We learned all this, just by reading this. The answer is no, we don't. We do not need carbohydrate. However, we're going to feel like we need carbohydrate if we are metabolically unhealthy because we are stuck in what we call sugar burning mode. We're not able to use our fat correctly, mainly because of our high insulin levels. I won't get any detailed in that more than that right now. However, watch my other videos, you'll understand it even more. I want to stick to what makes us a good fat burner right now. So, you have higher insulin level after you eat, completely normal, helps bring the nutrients to the cell uses it, stores it or uses it. And the using could be for work or it could be for waste. Very exciting, but the waste only happens when our insulin is lowered. Ketones help that occur. So yes, what you've heard, lower carbohydrate can be extremely helpful. Let's get back to this insulin balance thing. So if our body is metabolically healthy. That means we are insulin sensitive. That's a good thing. Not ew, sensitive. And it's good. Your cells are listening to insulin. That means you can store your nutrients well. Hormones are regulated. Everything's working as it should. Insulin works the first time, because if it's not working the first time, then the pancreas, which secretes insulin, will bring more out to the bloodstream more grandmas out to the bloodstream. Italian grandmas telling the cells to eat into the bloodstream to make the cells eat, but it may or may not work. You would think that'd be a good thing, but no, it's not, because the fat cell still takes in the stuff. And then, remember, the higher the insulin level, the lower the glucagon. You can't have fat burning when insulin's existing. And the less insulin sensitive we are, the higher our levels will be. And this causes, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit, if we stay insulin sensitive, this is the good stuff here, it will reduce our appetite, maintain lower levels in general, so it won't creep up here and there, making us gain more weight. It takes very little to do its job, no extra fat gain, and it permits muscle maintenance and growth. You would think that a lot of people, and it's really a popular thing in the fitness world, where people think you need more insulin than typical to create muscle. Well, that's not true, because nature happens. You don't have to force it. You can eat real food and enough insulin will be there to do its job, unless you're type 1 diabetic. What's necessary here is insulin sensitivity. If you have too much insulin, your cells are going to start saying la 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 to the insulin, and the nutrients won't be able to be brought in. Then you can't gain the muscle. So you have to stay insulin sensitive to build muscle and maintain it. And then, of course, to have satiety. That's important too. This is what I've been actually calling insulin resistance. It actually is a number. Insulin resistance numbs your muscle, numbs your fat, and it numbs your brain. A brain that is insulin numb is demented. And it's gonna make me cry because I had a lot of that in my family. Fat numb means the fat doesn't listen. It does take it in though, but it won't burn it. The fat, the energy, takes in the energy but won't burn it. And then muscle that's numb to insulin won't grow, won't maintain well. So there's some important facts there why you want to stay insulin sensitive, okay? So you're gonna have more fat storage, less fat burning, lower metabolic rate actually, a higher appetite, less nourishment to the muscle. So while this insulin is in higher amounts in the body, this means that that thing I mentioned before, when you can exercise it off, but that's not the way to go about trying to lose the fat. It's having the metabolic profile, insulin sensitivity, to be able to waste the energy that you just brought in. That can happen when your insulin is low, especially when you have ketones. Isn't that great? So you don't have to be in acidosis. That's different. Being in ketosis is different. You can have mild ketones. Might not even register as major ketosis. You can have mild ketones and burn fat, or burn the extra energy you bring in is wasted energy. It's wonderful. It's some new stuff that most of us professionals aren't familiar with, especially if we don't do our research. But I am, and I'm doing it for you. So, with all this said, if we don't maintain our insulin sensitivity, we resist insulin in certain tissues, and it manifests in type 2 diabetes, heart disease, polycystic ovarian disease, erectile dysfunction, poor immunity, cancer, poor focus, depression, anxiety, obesity, pain, and one thing I can't believe I didn't put on here, blood pressure. So actually, one of the first signs of insulin resistance might be high blood pressure out of the blue. I didn't gain much weight. You don't have to gain weight to be insulin resistant. Some people will gain more weight than others, but having insulin resistance does not require obesity. So what really dictates fat burning? Yes, the amount coming in, absolutely. Because the less you have in, the less you're actually going. But that's not all. We get stuck on that. It's the type of input, the type of food. Carbs elicit insulin the most. The more it gives us more exposure to insulin. When we're overexposed to insulin, we become less sensitive to it. And we just talked about all those problems. And then the frequency of input. That also can overexpose us to insulin. The frequency of carbohydrates, especially processed carbohydrates. So, which ones? You have your juices, fructose, horrible for the liver, sodas, you have your added sugars in your foods, actually processed foods in general, and grains, even grains. The more powdered something is, the less real it is. Breads, don't get me wrong. A good bread is absolutely delicious when you put it with some good olive oil and rosemary and garlic. Oh, I get it. But we don't eat it all the time. When we're eating this all the time, we are having dessert all the time. It's just as simple as that. I know I'm a Debbie Downer, but at least you're alive. If you listen to this, you can stay alive and be healthy. Very important. Okay, so what about the output? Remember, I mentioned you can exercise all you want. That's the work. You can think hard, you can exercise, unless you are running all day long. There's so much more going on. Our body can waste it. That's why that skinny mini can be your same age and eat more than you, because they waste their energy. Because right now, their ally, their accumulated lifestyle impact has not put them at insulin insensitivity, insulin resistance. Hasn't put them there yet. It eventually could happen, and don't wish that for them. Don't be mean. They are wasting what they're taking in better than you. Well, maybe not. Maybe they're worse than you. I don't know you, but you know what I mean. So that's why there's individual differences. There's also differences, yes, in genes and stuff like that. But if you weren't always overweight your entire life, then don't stop talking about genes. We all have genetic predispositions. Let's get over it. There's also epigenetics and how the environment affects our genes. It's hard to separate them. So there is something you can do. Get your hormones in shape. So what affects all this? Food. Food affects all this. This is food. Food is information for our body. So the goal is to stay insulin sensitive. We're going to stimulate our insulin less. We're going to stimulate it less quickly by not having all this processed powdered crap, less often by skipping a meal here and there, no snacking. God, I'm sounding really mean. But come on. This is no time to bullshit you, right? I've been candy coating things for years. No more. We're going to do this if you want to lose some weight or just be metabolically healthy. You're going to keep your tissues healthy. Your fat you're going to keep healthy by having less carbohydrate, less crappy carbohydrate, less processed carbs. And if you're going to have carbs, have non-starchy vegetables. Less seed oils, no canola oil, sorry. Go find a good olive oil, it's hard to find. Find my video on that. And then you're going to keep your muscle healthy by staying insulin sensitive, by having less carbohydrate. At least it's all the same, right? At least it's all the same. You're going to keep moving to keep your body strong. You're going to feel like it. You're going to have the energy because you're going to be metabolically healthy. Over time, you're going to get a lot more energy, I'll tell you that. Your liver's going to be healthy because you're going to take in less toxins, less fructose, less alcohol, less carbohydrate, especially the fructose and the processed foods. Carnitine. Carnitine comes from meat. If you don't have enough, it is harder to lose your fat. And then cruciferous vegetables, greens, if you're allowed, if you're on Coumadin, yes, it makes it harder, and fiber from natural sources. I could go on and on and on. So long story long, eat less fake carbs, don't drink them. Eat less starchy carbs, depends on your weight. Eat on your glucose. Eat less often. Gosh, I'm just repeating myself, but that's how you learn, right? Eat less seed oils, move, burn, waste more. You learn that you can waste by staying insulin sensitive, by exposing yourself to insulin less. And by doing all this, more real food, or not more, but have real food versus you don't necessarily have to have a lot more. You're going to be so nourished, you won't need that much more. You won't even feel like you need more. You won't be hungry for it. Fiber, nutrients, eat adequate protein and fat. It's just that easy. So it's not all about calories. It isn't. It's a coincidence. If someone loses weight it's not because of calories. It's because of something else going on, and they just think it's because of calories. So get metabolically healthy, and then everything else lines up. I promise. Almost everybody would benefit from this. 88% of us, because we're all 88% of us, 88, almost 90% of us are metabolically unhealthy. Our insulin, our diet. Okay, so what does it look like? Here's some real food. You got some salmon. You don't have to have salmon, but yes, consider some fish. Good for the brain, really good for the brain, and other things. Real food, real food, real food. Have it in any ratio you want. Follow your gut. After a while, you'll be able to follow your instincts because this less processed food will help your instincts. So if you've enjoyed this video and my goofiness, sorry, like this video, please do subscribe for more crazy videos and share so we can all evolve together. Thank you so much.